Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. Mike is back. It's Friday, December 3rd. Mike is back. United beat who they're supposed to. Carrick drops the mic and a bunch of midweek fixture narrative. But first, Mike, you were part of a pitch invasion in Michigan. And is there going to be a pitch invasion at Spurs this season for any reason? And you can pick any reason.
I was going to say, I'll get back to that in a second. But yeah, I mean, I've been living in college football nonsense land for a few weeks. It was a lot of fun. For the uninitiated, Michigan beat Ohio State for the first time in literally 10 years.
It would be as though Everton won this derby.
Yeah, it would be. But if Everton won the FA Cup as a function of it, basically. Yeah, it was, and then we stormed the fucking field. It was nuts. I have pictures at the 50-yard line. It was a once in a literal lifetime experience. They stormed the field in 2010, but it was in 2011, but it wasn't quite the same. It was snowing. They were talking shit coming in. Their coaches were like, "We're gonna hang 100 on them." They didn't even hit 30. So It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
So Harbaugh should leave now? This is it? He should just go.
He should win Saturday, and he'd be like, I did it. What do you want me to tell you?
I'm out.
That would be a twist of fate. But to your question, there could be a pitch invasion at Spurs. It would not be for good reasons. It would be something along the lines of, we got Antonio Conte. We didn't buy anybody in January, and we lost 4 games.
And then Harry Kane on the last day of the deadline goes to Arsenal.
Right. Yeah. And then they lose a couple on the bounce, and the entire South Stand is like, you know what? We're gonna fucking riot now.
Yeah.
It's happened before.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about football, is that weird shit has happened. So I'm gonna try and do a little bit of firmware change. We're gonna talk about everything, but the first thing I want to do is go through the scores. Let's kick it off with Wednesday results. Watford 1, Chelsea 2. Chelsea were bad. Ziyech got this game done, and the less we talk about it, the better. Watford are actually pretty good under Ranieri. Wolves 0, Burnley 0. We had a Traore sighting. I thought he was lost, but he came back. He was through on goal, and he missed. So he's definitely back. That's very, very Traore. This was back to dominant Wolves. Burnley are just like, yeah, we get draws. This is what we do. So good for Burnley. What else? I carry on. I had my scores and I lost them. 1-1 West Ham and Brighton. Brighton are now falling into their drawing problem. They now have not won in 8. They've drawn 6 of those. So it's not a bad losing streak.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a problem, though.
Not a great losing streak. They're now in a negative goal differential. And West Ham are somehow hanging on to this 4th place slot. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Southampton 2, Leicester 2. Southampton were up 2-0. Che Adams was really good, but Maddison pulled this one back. Leicester are still middling, and there's a lot of middling to go. Everton 1. New Liverpool 4, the best team in the world, the best team in Europe, the team with the best scoring strikers in the world. I'm looking at the leaders in XG. All I see is Mo Salah's face. He's number 1 in goals. He's number 1 in expected goals. He's number 1 in non-penalty expected goals. He's number 1 in assists. He's number 1 in expected assists. Mo Salah's the best player in the world, and they dominate Everton. Everton get a constant.
You know what I bet is going to happen to Mo Salah? He's going to finish higher than 23rd in the Ballon d'Or ranking this year when he finishes first in goals.
This is the stupidest thing in the world.
I'm fucking pissed about it.
Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 2. These are Wednesday results. City played a weird lineup. We've been injured. There's a lot of COVID going on. No one wants to say what's happening, but City get it done with Ake in defense. And whenever that happens, that's a good sign. Bernardo Silva is the best midfielder in the Premier League. Somehow, City has the best Premier League player, best midfielder in the world all the time, and it's never the same player. Maybe it's the team. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going with. Killer goal from a 3-pass cross the pitch goal. Incredible on the volley. So City
it was like a saxophone solo. That entire build up and shot. Oh, yeah. It was like Careless Whisper. It was fantastic.
And then today we had your Tottenham Hotspur defeat our sad friends at Brentford, who seem to have lost a little bit of their juice. Really didn't put up a fight. creaky. But Conte did say Skip was the best, has a chance to be the best midfielder in the Premier League. And in a throwback game, the final game of the day, Michael Carrick's mic drop, Manchester United 3, Arsenal 2, in a fun game that was enjoyable. I think that Michael Carrick had something there, and we'll start there with our discussions. Manchester United 2, 3, Arsenal 2. There was a lot of games, but this game was fun. It had controversy. It had VAR. It had Ronaldo. It had Arsenal almost getting into the top 4.
It had peak Odegaard, right? Because you had him
so
at
good.
The equalizer, and he was until he wasn't, right? I mean, it was a rash challenge that ended up giving United the winner late on. But
it wasn't that bad. It was like he slid into Fred's ankle but didn't squeeze it.
It's an attacking midfielder making a challenge in the box.
Yeah.
That's going to go poorly.
But before that, the controversy was De Gea fucking getting kicked by Fred on his own team, rolling around on the ground for so long that he didn't get up, and Smith Rowe just turns and fires.
He just assumed that the play would be dead. And the weird thing is, if you watch the replay of it, right, like it all happens within about 10 seconds, probably less than that. So one other thing I noticed from the behind the goal camera is that they had the zipline cam, and whoever headed it out, it misses the zipline cam by like a foot and a half.
Yeah, those are little things that are fun.
Yeah, and if that hits the camera, they blow it dead, right? But it doesn't. It keeps going. It bounces around. And who was it? Was it Smith Rowe?
Smith Rowe, yeah.
Yeah. He picks it up and he goes, fuck it, and just pops one.
Just on target. A goal that would have been saved if De Gea had been standing on one leg and just been bouncing, right? Like
at the end of a drill in a training session.
Yeah. He would have saved it if he had just hobbled on one leg.
Totally. Yep.
So, and then Ronaldo ties it up on a really good move by Rashford. Ronaldo goes into the box.
No. That was the
Fernandez.
So Fred has 3 major plays in this game. It's actually kind of the story. It's like the Benjamin Button game for Fred, because it goes from he was the problem in the beginning. He made the extra cute little pass in the box, and Fernandez finished, which wasn't even a great finish. He just hit it hard.
Yeah.
But it was all set up by Fred.
Yeah.
And then he draws the penalty at the end.
Yes, that's right.
So it's the story of Fred, right? And so we give him a lot of shit on this show, and I think he deserves some praise today, and probably only today, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Fred from playing against him when he was at Shakhtar, and he was really good. So I don't really begrudge him being bad at United because he's bad. Mm-hmm. I think that he's one of these guys that with good coaching, he's going to be good. And I think the bigger piece about this game is that it was a very offensive heavy game. United had 10 shots on goal on 14 shots. Mm-hmm. Arsenal had 8 shots on goal on 17 shots. And the difference is Ronaldo had 4 shots on target and scored one of his. Aubameyang had 4 shots on target and didn't score any of his.
That dude stinks.
The difference between 2 strikers, one is actually in form and scores goals, and one is a bum.
Hold on. I fucking hate Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but that's not fair. Okay? Listen, he stinks. You can't put him and Ronaldo in the same sentence. Effer. All right? Like, I don't care. Listen,
I'm doing it. I
don't care if Ronaldo is blindfolded and tied to a 3-legged midget. Like, you can't fucking compare them. They are as apples and oranges as you get for playing
this game. In this game, you could, because they both had 4 shots on target, and they're supposed to be the main man of their team.
Yeah, but he's the most automatic, big spot bad finisher I've ever seen. I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, this was a fun game. This was a good game. We'll go through it. It's Smith Rowe on 13, like we said. Fernandez puts United up just before the break on 44. Ronaldo on the Rashford move, which he goes into the box. Ronaldo's about, I've come to appreciate him a little bit. I don't think I've ever really watched him on a regular basis. Classicos here and there. but he's about as money a finisher as there is. Like he's got
thing.
all the shots, he's got all the finishes, and in this game he seemed to be up for it. Either they were up for Carrick's slice game that they knew, they were up for the fact that Rangnick was in the stands. He was running and doing work in this game.
He looked pretty knackered when he came off on like 8,
he
9
was
minutes.
done. He literally
he ran down the tunnel. He's like, I'm out here. But the thing that I want to talk about that second goal, because so I have Fernandes in fantasy, and he was kind of the cutback option at the top of the box, and he was wide open. So I was looking at Rashford. I'm like, he's open. You go take him. And he threaded a ball through to Ronaldo. And if you watch his finish, that is not an easy ball to strike.
None of it is.
But also place in the side netting. Like when he hit it, I was like, oh, that went wide. Holy shit, it went in. Like, no. That's the thing about Ronaldo, and I mean that's why you can't ever compare him to Aubameyang. But like, he does shit where you're like, no way, oh wow, like that's the literal, that's your literal thought process in continuing. Like, oh no fucking, oh my goodness, like that's
I mean you have that with Kane, right? You have finishes. Sometimes. You're just like, oh wow, yeah. Like we had that with City had it with Aguero, whose career is now over. I don't think I really talked about it. He's over. He had this weird heart condition that's going around all of football,
all of Europe. Strangely, that's weird.
Yeah, a little bit of vaxy waxy. I don't know if this thing is perfect stuff. So I don't buy for conspiracy theories or whatever, but it's a little weird.
Were fans and or players dropping almost dead once a week 2 years ago? I don't recall. I don't recall.
So that's weird. So Cristiano and then Odegaard with a nice move gets his thing. I really love Martinelli. How he doesn't play all the time is laughable. Like, it's just like, can we just have him? I know he gets hurt,
and I've shouted him out a few times. Like,
he's so fun.
Waiting for him to come back. When you put him and Smith Rowe in the same field, I don't like what Arsenal looks like. They look
good, energetic, and ready to kick your ass.
Yeah, and I've been banging on them the whole year. But if Martinelli is a piece of that puzzle, as long as Aubameyang is, I'm not worried. But they're a legitimate-ish threat.
So
the top, to a European spot.
So the thing that's happened now with Arsenal is they're getting into like Wenger realm, where when they play someone above them, they just get smoked. And when they're able to beat the lesser teams, so but I think the difference here is, and I've talked about it a million times, is they're still running the youngest team in the league out by a lot, and especially like Aubameyang's 32, so he's bringing the average up. If Lacazette moves on and they just go and Aubameyang leaves, they'll be really young. So, like I said at the beginning of the season, they were a top 5 finisher, but so is everyone. That top 4 spot is open for everyone, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I was just going through the shots there, and then we have, just Arsenal have chances, but can't really get another big chance, I'd say, out of De Gea. And after they get the 3-2, the crowd comes in, they really somewhat peter out and don't create another chance that you'd say, oh, Arsenal deserved a draw. They tried, they puffed. They're not ready. It doesn't feel like to be that team that gets the draw, right? Like from your point about like Aubameyang being whatever, he's like a flat track happy. Like if things are fun, he's having fun. But when it gets tough,
he wilts.
He doesn't seem to. He loses the fun in the game. Whereas Ronaldo's like, this is where I'm at. I want this. Yeah. So I want that moment. I want that moment to shine. I want the time to be able to win the game and move on. And then what seems to me, if we transition really quickly, is that seems to be where Liverpool is right now. They just want to destroy teams.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like they're the bad guys from the Mighty Ducks. Like it's not worth winning if you don't win big. Like they just beat the shit out of teams now. Like,
they're now they're now on like almost 3 goals a game.
Yeah.
Which is
and we were talking about before we started recording, the big story I've been citing all year is that they're gonna I don't think anybody's in disagreement that they are the most talented team in the Premier League in the world, but the big red light that they were going to get stuck at was AFCON. Well, the world's taking its pants off again, so there's a very good chance that Mo Salah and Naby Keita and Sadio Mane and a few others, I think, are going to stay home. and they're going to stay in Liverpool, and they're actually going to continue
that'll make a difference. Now, to be fair, we called difference. And to be fair, and we called this out at the beginning of the season, and one of the reasons I thought Liverpool would not win the league is they're old relative to the rest of the team.
Yeah,
they're on 6 years up front. The average age of their starting lineup was something like 29, which is old in football, and Salah's 29, and so they're getting their last mileage, but it feels like a last roundup, and it feels like Klopp has put in their heads, it's like, we're not going out like we went last season.
Like a bunch of bitches.
Right. We're not going out like that. We're going to show that we're a two-time champion with this group, that they deserve to be. They do have a blip in them. The depth is not there. They can't lose Van Dijk ever. They can't really lose Alisson ever. They can't really lose Trent Alexander-Arnold ever. I don't know how they keep the group together. They do have some flexibility in midfield, but it seems to me, and this is the really scary thing, is they've settled on a midfield now. They had problems with the Wijnaldum thing where they couldn't control games, but now they've settled in on Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, and that is just we've got a box-to-box defender, not a tackler runner guy in Fabinho. We've got a technician in Thiago, and we've got an Englishness in Henderson, right? A heart and soul guy. So they've got the right mix.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus they have that depth. They have their other guys, Keita, they're not, but those guys have to play regularly, they're in trouble. But I think that this is the vision that they had when they got Thiago. I'm expecting he'll get hurt again because he just will. But I wonder if something like this happens where they play Firmino and Jota and let Firmino play in the midfield. I could see him playing there.
See that to spell Thiago. I could definitely see that.
Especially down the road. So Liverpool just really smash Everton.
But
and Everton,
when you were talking about their one last ride, it reminded me of like the last Fast and the Furious movie before Paul Walker died. They're like, like Fast 5 or whatever the fuck it was. Like they got The Rock and they got Jason Statham and they got all these motherfuckers and they're all just at the peak of their careers. This is really it, right? Like I get the feeling that Salah he's almost bored at this point. He's like, yeah, I did that shit again.
Well, he wants that $500,000 a week contract.
Yeah, right. Well, exactly, right. And so I think the other thing to think about is as we get further and further away from the pandemic, he said foolishly, Real Madrid is going to bounce back, and Barca's probably not. For a little while.
I don't think that world exists anymore. I don't think the world of Real Madrid coming in for big money is in the next 18 months. I think they're really hobbled. I think the Premier League is where the money is, and he can't go anywhere better. Liverpool is the best team in the world.
Oh no, absolutely. I still think Real Madrid can figure it out. I think that they're still getting all of the money in La Liga. Okay.
Yeah. I hear you. I just don't think it's there anymore. Yeah. And I do want to sort of point out, right? Like it's 14 games and Liverpool has 43 goals for, right? Mm-hmm. I was thinking, so what are they going to be at 19? 50, if they're averaging through almost 2.5 goals a game, that's 5 more games. That's 10. At 55, they finish the season. Let's say, let's do the projection game. What if they're at like 105 goals for the season? That's insane, right? That's like Salah will be on 30 some odd. He could easily break his own record. And I think one of the bigger things is just like we're seeing the breakaway here, right? We've got Chelsea on plus 27, City on plus 21, Liverpool on plus 31. And then the only other plus team in the entire Premier League is West Ham at plus 8, who you could absolutely see finishing in negative at the end of the season.
Oh, without question. My favorite thing, I said it on the last time I was on the show, which feels like 10 years ago now, is that they're so obsessed with Tottenham that they are going to Spursy themselves out of the top 4. And what do you know? We've said this till we were blue in the face, but it's Chelsea, City, and United and Liverpool, and that gap has closed with Chelsea. And then it's West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs, United, Wolves count. Wolves are in that race.
They got
and you know what they should
12
be? They
goals
to be.
Scored, dude. They can't
score. For the love of a striker, please go buy one in January and put Traore on the wing and don't let him shoot. Just don't let him shoot. Like he's so effective and yet horrible.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite like it. So
yeah. So I heard a stat. This was a crazy thing. I was listening to one of my podcasts. So the 1971 Liverpool team won the league and scored only 43 goals all season. That's how, like, when people talk about nostalgia. Oh,
how many games did they play back then? Did they play 38?
They didn't play at all. They played 42, and they maybe they finished in 5th with 43 goals. That's just to give you an idea of, like, don't let anyone tell you nostalgia was better. Football back in the day was never better. It's better now, especially at the top teams, right? Like, so we've got that game. We've got. I do want to give a word for Everton. Everton is in real trouble. They're really bad, and they're getting in that Knives Out mode where everyone starts doing the, hey, it's not just the manager, it's the owner, it's the director of football, it's $500 million in players over 6 years, and they still don't have a backup to Seamus Coleman, who's been there for 12 years. And, like, next thing you know, you're going to see. Are we surprised that they're that bad?
All right, for 2 reasons. A, they're bad. B, the tide has risen around them, right? We talk about this all the time, how the league is better and the league is more competitive. And when you don't, by the way, I've heard the we're building a stadium excuse. It is bullshit. Okay. So I don't want to fucking hear a peep out of Everton about that. But if you are sitting there saying, oh, we're going to stand pat, we're going to be conservative with our signings or whatever, we're not going to really go after it, you're now losing on 2 fronts because you're not supplementing your team like you normally should, and everybody else is, right? That used to just be the story about the top 4. Now it's the top 10, arguably top 12. Yeah. So you're talking about, oh, maybe, I mean, Everton historically
never been relegated.
Never been relegated, but always sort of punching around the European spots. Has gotten to the Europa League quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now
they're that next group, right? But they're now slipping down a little bit. Yeah. But they have a billionaire. They've got all the pieces, right? They've got the billionaire owner, but he's meddling. And for them, it's that Watford game where they were up 2-0 and gave up literally 4 goals in the final 10 minutes.
Oh God, that was backbreaking.
Seemed to be a backbreaker. They've been injured. Rafa is not giving the fans what they want. He's been trying to sort of hang in there. The goal against Liverpool was their first goal they've scored in a month. They really have slid
4-1.
They got annihilated. That game was not close. And historically, Liverpool doesn't, they have dominated the derbies, but they don't win in Everton. They usually draw.
Yeah.
So that's where, and the knives are out for Benitez. They like, this is like, do we have something of equal? It would be like if Harbaugh went to go coach Ohio State, right? You'd be like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, right.
Or is it Woody Hayes back in the day? If Woody Hayes had gone,
it's Bo Schembechler, literally Bo Schembechler.
Right. Like, had gone and coached Ohio State, or Woody Hayes went to go coach Michigan.
Because Bo was with Woody at Ohio State, and then he went to Michigan, and then he beat the motherfucker in his first year in 1969. I am chock full of Michigan shit.
Ready? Oh, you've gone.
I have bought a number of Orange Bowl tickets. I'm going to drive to Miami if they're in it. And you know what? If not, then I'm going to sell them to Georgia fans. So I'm pretty psyched about it either way.
For me, so the next game is we've got to cover the top boys. My team, again, boring. It's almost like we're not boring Arsenal, but we're boring City, in that they play the same way and win the same way.
That's not fair. I won't let you do that because.
But it was an amazing. It was an amazing performance.
No, that goal,
it was a gutty performance. It was tough.
It's Villa were good. You guys just don't have personalities, because Pep is the personality. We've talked about that. Yeah. But I won't.
And the stadium doesn't give you anything.
No, it doesn't. You're right. No. But it didn't have to, because weren't you guys on the road for this game?
Yeah, but Villa Park was bouncing.
Yeah. It was and that goal on the counter, I forget who has the ball in to Bernardo, but that entire sequence
it's Mahrez to Gabriel.
Yes,
on
that's
the wing.
right.
It's 3 passes.
Mahrez hits Gabriel down.
Yeah,
downfield.
Incredible goal.
That was legitimately pornographic. I watched that and took my pants off. It was fucking terrific.
And the goal by Diaz was really good too. Is I think Raheem Sterling is getting his mojo back, but maybe Matt Target is or the other one, Matty Cash, one of the Spice Boys. He's not. who's now a Polish Spice Boy. That was an amazing story. He went and changed his nationality. He's like, I'll never play for England. I'm going to go play for Poland. So there's this English guy who now plays for Poland. But Raheem got the best of him, and it was a cutback that you'd normally see the guy be on the end of it, but it kept going as far as the right back, as far as the right defenseman came in.
Yeah.
And Diaz hooks a left-footed shot into goal. Where it was really cool. So it was an easy win, but I will give Villa a lot of credit. They were good. They're better, much better under Gerrard. Our guy Leon Bailey out again. Hamstring went.
Mm-hmm.
He was tracking back. That disappeared. We saw some good Buendia. We saw some bad Buendia. 2 occasions they weren't passing to each other. Like you know how you're watching a game and you're like, he's open. Like if I can see it, you better. Doesn't put the guy in. Tries to trick around, do some shots. That was bad. And then it's one of these City games where all the players are injured. No De Bruyne, no Foden. Grealish does come on for some boo cheers. I think he wanted to, so they did that. But City had 4 academy guys on the bench: McAteer, Palmer, Lavoya, I don't know his name, and just like extra, and Scott Carson, like extra goalkeepers. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. One of those weird games. But City roll on. It's one of those games that in the season you'll go, we needed that game. It was tough. Ederson made a couple saves. Again, Ollie Watkins was really good. I would love if he was City striker, but I think he doesn't finish either. But I like his style. He's a runner. He's strong. I would take him. He would be the Wilfred Boney of the current era.
When you were talking about Raheem, I want to go back to him for a second. He's one of these guys who, after the Euros, started like shit. And Kane was one of them, and Foden was one of them, and
he was in the doghouse with City at the end of last season as well.
I know he was. I know, and the other thing is that Kane was given the opportunity when he came back to play his way through it. Maguire could play his way through it. That doesn't work with Man City, right? It's like no, fucking back of the. Well, I was going to say back of the bus. I don't mean
it's back of the bus. It's okay.
Back of the bench.
Literally back of the bus, not for any reason.
Right. Sit down, right? Like you earn your spot, and you're going to need a few injuries.
He's too good.
That's what I mean. But you're going to need a few injuries. You're going to need 3 games in 10 days to be able to even get a shift. And he performed, and I was happy to see that.
He's just good.
But it's one of those. I think that it took him a while. These fucking guys, man, they run their balls into the ground for 11 months. They get 2 weeks off, and they go, all right, go do it again. And they're just not physically or mentally prepared to start a new season. And I think it took him a while to get his mojo back.
Really well.
What's that?
The Qatar World Cup's going to be awesome.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah.
Ooh. I hope the Qatar gets gets cut off of the Arabian Peninsula, just like in that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he saws off Florida, and they just go, and it's just like Bugs Bunny $1, and he gets pissed off and just fucking fills in the Grand Canyon. It's one of the great Bugs Bunny episodes ever. My favorite.
That is up there along with the Gas House Gorillas. That's one of my favorites.
That's also very good.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Chelsea very quickly, but the less said about this game, the better. Again, it's a depth thing. Again, it's Chelsea just hanging on outside of this crazy. They are getting lucky on goals for and getting lucky on goals against, which means like out of the group of the great teams, they're the worst of them. They're on XG of 0.88, whereas City are on XG per 90 of 0.44, and Liverpool are 1.59. So they're City are 1.44. Excuse me. I don't want to give them a short shrift, but I just want to get to that game just to give you a sense of Watford being really, really good in this game.
They're attacking.
I liked what I've seen. If they go down, they're going to go down fighting. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, I think Ranieri has found a little something in this game. They had, and I know it's something crazy. Yeah, Watford had 13 shots, 6 on target, and Mendy made 5 saves. So it was not a shitty. Oh, they just hung in there. They were good for the money. They were value for money. Tom Cleverley with 2 shots, fucking resurrection there. So yeah, I mean they what's it called? Lukaku came on, getting minutes slowly but surely. Had another 20 minutes. We'll see where we go. We have Raul came back again, only got a half of a game, and then was taken out of the game again.
Yeah.
So that Saul one is not quite there. But Ziyech gets this team, bails them out, and Mason Mount, who's really secretly the player that makes Chelsea work, because he's the one player that sort of runs and plays the 10. Usually you get these guys that play the 10 and they don't defend.
I was going to say, he tracks back. Yeah.
Right. He's a runner. He's their Englishness.
I was going to say, yes, thank you for beating me to it.
And we keep on harping on that. Now you can get into depth about your Spurs game. Tell me about Spurs Brentford.
It was okay, right? Like, Spurs were fine. Spurs were good. I thought that Reguilon and Royal were actually quite good. And it was fine. Like, Sonny scored the second one. The first one was off of a set piece. They ended up calling it an own goal, but it was a Ben Davies forced goal.
Forced own goal, right, yeah.
So that's weird. That's a collector's item. And then after that,
I saw the Reguilon pass. That was really good. I mean, it was a classic. It was a Mourinho Kane special.
You're right. And so Kane's starting to come alive, which is great. He's been dropping deep. He actually missed a huge chance. Listen, we talked about how Brentford needs to get their goaltender situation figured out. Fernandez was good in this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, he slides it to Reguilon on the left. And I mean, he just taps it right into Sonny's path, who could have walked it in for the second one. But before that,
were you guys in danger at all in this game?
No,
there
not at all.
Seems to be a little period in middle of the second half.
No,
Tony with a shot that's blocked, Janssen off target, and then Tony saved.
So they had 6 shots and they had the majority of possession, which means that Spurs were resolute in their shape, but they were letting them play. Yeah. And Brentford was like, we don't really want to. And that runs counter to a lot of the things that we've heard and seen about them over the course of the first 4 months of the season. And I feel like, and I texted you this during the game, that I think Thomas Frank might have turned back into a pumpkin. And we get
excited. The thing is with us is like, we both get super excited for the new teams and the new managers and the things. We had it with Hasenhüttl. We had it with Bielsa. Potter's slipping a little bit, with Brighton. We'll talk about that.
Potter's old news at this point, right?
Yeah, like, he's my old news.
Yeah. But no, I think that I've waxed poetically about Brentford quite a bit on this show, and I just kind of felt let down by them. Yeah. I didn't start Hugo Lloris in fantasy because I was like, no, we suck on defense, and they're going to come at us. And they'll probably score. They never look up for it. And I expected more. Look, Tony's starting to do the thing that Kane does, where he doesn't drop deep. He just kind of is on the island, and he's like, well, now what the fuck do I do? That has been, I've felt like Tony's looked like that at times.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really want to ask the owners of Brentford, and we've covered this as well, is that, are they going to spend? It's one thing, but their philosophy going into the season, when they talked about how Thomas Frank will be judged and how the team and players will be judged, is not necessarily completely based on results. It's based on the quality and the way they play and a lot of the underlying advanced stats. There's not a stat in the world that could agree with Brentford today. Yeah. I think their expected goals was like 0.4. Spurs were well above 2.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, and so what they said was the results won't matter, they'll matter. They won't be the most important thing as long as the underlying results are there. If they're getting bad breaks, if they should be winning games. We talked about it close to the beginning of the season. Well, December 3rd, here we are, and they're middling. They're probably safe, which is obviously the first goal of any team.
One of the things we'll talk about in a minute is just the compression of the table. I don't know I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And 1 or 2 good games. And by the way, that's going to happen in the next 20 minutes, essentially. They're going to play 4 games. But exactly. But so 1 or 2 good games, and they're perfectly mid-table again. But again, it's the manner in which they're getting to these results, win or lose or draw, I suppose. It's not attractive, and it's not really what they signed up for.
They have two losses where they beat their XG. The Chelsea game that we know about, that
Right.
Norwich game killed them where they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got a couple of draws they should have won.
Look, the Chelsea was like,
that's really it.
The Chelsea game felt, based on that criteria, the Chelsea game was a 3-0 win, according to the owners. So they get a lot of favor. Thomas Frank and the gang get a lot of favor because of that. But that's 6 weeks ago.
So
right?
I think the thing that's interesting, and we can probably chat about this now because we're kind of getting into the everyone else roundup, but it does lead into the table is tight. The table is open. The table has anything could happen, right? You've got from 16 to 9 is
4 points.
A game is 4 points, right? And then you've got Wolves, which we don't expect, but Man United to West Ham is 3.
I would even say,
Tottenham are in a top 4 fight that they can get.
By the way, and I know how this is going to sound and whatever. Tottenham currently are 6th on 22 points. West Ham are 4th on 24 points. But Tottenham has a game in hand because it got snowed out last weekend, and it's against fucking Burnley. Granted, it's in Burnley.
Yeah.
But, like, that's a game you go up and win if you have top 4 ambitions. So if you call that a win, which, again, what an idiot I am, but if you call that a win, Spurs are currently in a Champions League spot.
I mean, if you do the XG by 90, we're now 14 games in. The leader, the record is like this: Liverpool on, like I said, plus 1.59.
Yeah.
City, Chelsea, West Ham, but the drop between Chelsea and West Ham is a full 0.6 goals, which is a lot.
What's the difference between Chelsea and West Ham, and then West Ham and whoever's behind them? Is it
nothing?
Like 2x?
It's a 10th.
Yeah.
And Tottenham are in the top. They're after Crystal Palace and West Ham. So you're not top 4, but you're top 6. And then Brentford's behind you. Southampton, Wolves, Brighton. Everyone is really close. There's really the terrible teams are the terrible teams. Norwich and Newcastle are the 2 worst by far. But then it's really a bunch of teams on like 0.1, 0.3. None of them are really bad.
Sure.
Weirdly, Arsenal are, because they have these blowouts, they get destroyed, and then United are also really bad in the XG table, and that's to be expected because they literally haven't been coached for 3 years.
Exactly, and we've talked about this too, but it's devoid of context. It's devoid of the game context essentially, right? So you take it with a grain of salt, but it's a good indicator. It's a sanity check, right? You're like, is what I'm watching, does that really make sense? And you go, all right, for the most part, I do think Brentford is too high.
Yeah, I think that's true. They had some weird games where they dominated and didn't win, right?
Right.
And then there's other ones where it's like Tottenham have 13 goals for, 17 against. The 17 against is more than you would have expected, and that makes sense because they give up stupid goals, and the goals
more than I would have expected,
right? But I mean, it because your expected and your actual is usually doesn't vary that much, except at the high end, right? Where you've got Chelsea on 33 goals for, but an XG of 25, which is all those fucking defender goals, because no one expects Reece James to shoot a fucking nuclear missile from a tight angle, and he's done it 4 times. That's 4 right there, right? And then Liverpool are over the top because their finishing has been incredible, right? But then you've got less goals than you should have scored. Your negative, your XG is off on both against and for. So
that makes sense because Sonny and Harry have been,
Harry has been not scoring the goals you'd expect.
No,
right. Right. So it does make sense. And again, my boys in Brighton they're under on both. Again, they're actually above on defense.
United is a complete black box in what we'll see in the next 20 games, right?
There's no way they're this bad. There's no way they're
exactly.
This bad.
So when I look at the table, I go, West Ham, they're not for it. And the more that they go into Europa League, the more it will cost them at some point.
Yeah, they're getting extra goals is what's happening to them.
Yeah,
like they shouldn't be. Their defense is where it should be, but their goal scoring is extra. And I think that's Mikel Antonio getting lucky early. That's weird strikes that are going in, over the top, whatever.
It feels unsustainable. Arsenal have bounced back, but again, like they'll be in the conversation.
Those blowouts really show the quality of the team.
They're going to get close. Yes, they're going to get close, and they're going to get blown out by every big team around them. And then they're going to drop points at Southampton or some shit like that. So I'm not concerned about Arsenal.
Well, I think the issue with them is inconsistency, right? Young teams are going to be inconsistent. Mm-hmm. If one of the strikers can kick on,
look, you can blame it on youth now, but historically that's also just called.
And then there's right? We haven't even talked about Leicester. They played a 2-2 draw with Southampton.
Putrid. Good comeback, but just like, what are you guys doing?
Here's the thing that's happened, and they don't want to talk about it. Schmeichel is done. He's minus 4 goals on expected goals saved. So he's given up 4 more goals than you would have expected him to save. That's a really bad sign. That's the kind of thing where you can save your season, because Brighton did this. They got rid of Matty Ryan. If you ditch your goalkeeper and he's at that far minus, you can completely turn your season around.
Yeah, well,
because it's goals you can't.
Kasper Schmeichel's going to die in Leicester. Like, he's not going.
Right. He's a legend. They can't get rid of him. But they need to, right? They actually need to. And it's what's hurting Villa. Last season, Martinez was superhuman, and we talked about him every week. And this season, he's bad.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the trip, that weird trip. Maybe it's not enough data yet.
He's gone to Argentina and back 4 times in 3 months. Like, what the fuck are you? By the way, Christian Romero out
dead
until fucking January 15th. That's fun. There's 9 games between now and then, probably more.
Yeah, like, you would have needed him.
Fuck me.
But I do, I know like Sanchez is a disaster, but when I see him play, I like him. He's super
so
athletic.
He's so athletic that you're like, holy shit, that's a defender moving like that? So and he gets the ball and you're like, please kick it away.
Between West Ham 1-1, Southampton, Leicester 2-2, Norwich, Newcastle 1-1. That's probably needs some time. Burnley 0-0, Leeds, Crystal Palace 1-0. What game do you want to talk about? Are you interested in?
Oh my God.
Or at least my thoughts.
Southampton, Leicester, I guess, because I don't know. That's a death march of football right there. That's West Ham Brighton is it. Let's hear about that. What do you got? Because I didn't watch any of these. Thank God.
Yeah, okay. So West Ham Brighton was classic Brighton, a little bit of nothing. Souček gets a goal in the first 10 minutes on a header, and Brighton, and of course West Ham just are like, okay, we're good. We got our goal. Let's go. Let's break us down. Brighton do try. They huff and they puff, and in the 89th minute, by the grace of fucking God in heaven, Neil Maupay on an overhead kick puts them into the draw, and they get a draw that they probably didn't deserve. But this has sort of been Brighton's season this year. They can't score goals again. They're back in that same place where they got booed off the field against Leeds the week before on their 0-0. And Potter's like, you fucking booing me? You're in 8th in the Premier League. You're fucking Brighton. If I walk out of this door, you guys are going down. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So that was really his attitude. It was probably a little bit too much, but I felt it. I was like, good for
you. Who's the boxer? Not the boxer, the bowler, Pete Weber.
Okay.
Do you know who, like, when he does, like, he bowls the perfect game? Do you know who I am? That's who I, like, he does, like, the whole, like, he's yelling at himself.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, Potter went, like, get the fuck out of here. Are you people fucking kidding me? You booing me at home? I'm sure West Ham will probably think they should have won. They put 15 shots on target, but, my secret team was good. Tariq Lamptey came in and made a difference. As usual, that's what he does. He's awesome. But yeah, Neil Maupay, of course, the striker who can't score goals, scores the goal, runs into the away end, and is just like, what? You can't hear me now? He does the ears. He's a great shit heel. If only he was better, he would be fucking awesome.
That'd be great. He'd be like close to Balotelli if he was.
Yeah. He's got that French dickhead thing really right down. He's the kind of guy he'll steal your girlfriend and then sodomize her, and be like, "What do you mean? That's just what I do." Right?
It's my calling card.
and she was like, "I can't believe it. And you never do that." And you're like, "I guess my relationship's over now," because Neil Mopay had to go fucking be an asshole, or be very into assholes. I don't know where that came from, but that's what I think of him. He's that guy who really does that to people. And then he's like, "What? What do you mean? That's just how everyone does it, right?"
Yeah, wait, you don't do that?
Yeah, exactly. Very
What
French.
the fuck's wrong with you? When's the last time? Have you tried it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, he's using fucking window wipes to get everything cleaned up. Anyway, he doesn't care. It doesn't burn. It's fine. So Newcastle Norwich. Newcastle Norwich 1-1. That was a relegation 6-pointer that Eddie Howe really needed to win that game. And Kieran Clark decides, I'll just get sent off in the first 10 minutes. We're not in a relegation fight. It'll be fine. Norwich, of course, even with 10 men for 80 minutes, only scored 1 goal. Because they're bad. But the thing that sucked for them was Newcastle were up a goal in the 70th minute on a penalty. Callum Wilson puts it home. And then Pookie, who makes you think he's a good striker because once every 3 months he scores an incredible volley, scored his incredible volley for the once every 3 months. Norwich get the draw. I think they're both going down. Newcastle, this whole like ephemeral Newcastle's going to do something in the window thing. When? Who's doing the buying? What players? There apparently is a lot of background noise of like, the Amanda Staley is literally running the team, and I don't think she knows what to do. Like, she's good at hanging out with sheiks and stealing their money, but
she's not a director of football.
Right. Directors of football aren't, making deals in Saudi Arabia. In fact, they don't do that.
Right.
So
they hire people to do that.
Right. So I don't know if she knows who she needs to know. Right. What would have been amazing if she hired Ralf Rangnick for Newcastle. That actually would have been the right deal. So maybe if United fuck this up, maybe they can get. Here's my thing. What really should happen is Eddie Howe should go to Everton and Rafa should come back to Newcastle.
Ooh.
Maybe they should swap managers.
Like wife swap.
Because that's really what should have happened. Because that's really who needs what, right? Like,
so
Everton are really dour and actually want Eddie Howe, and Benitez would be happy to go back to shitty fucking Newcastle, where he can be a hero and do everything.
So it's not even a Mancini. It's like so far. You have to have somebody who you are happy replacing because you have unlimited money, but who also is happy with like. Yeah, I'll get replaced in a couple of years or sooner than that if I go down, because like Eddie Howe made sense because he needed to rebuild his reputation.
Yeah, but if he goes down, that's bad.
So here's the thing. This team has no wins. Eddie Howe has not been coaching the team for 14 games. No. So I don't know, and maybe this is me putting a little pinch of rationale into this, and that's my fault. I apologize.
No fun.
But
no fun for that.
It's not fucking Eddie Howe's fault.
It's not Eddie Howe's fault. But
if they finish the season winless, it's Eddie Howe's fault. Okay, if he gets 2-3 wins, it's like he's doing what he can with what he's got.
Yeah, but the thing is that this team is bad, and you can't. Are they 2 wins away? Will Watford pull into that group? Will Burnley pull out? This is what I'm saying this season. We only know of 2 teams that are truly bad, and it's Norwich and Newcastle. Yeah. The rest of them, there's 4 teams on -6 and -7. Like the quality, they're all equally shit. But we
got Tottenham at -4 and they're in 6th place.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like the quality between, I'm serious. I'm not even being funny. Between 5th and 17th, are they really that different from each other? This is what I've been sort of driving at. Like there's weirdly parity in the Premier League because every one of these teams has a handful of players that you go, I fucking like that dude.
Yeah.
Right. When
Even
I look at
fucking
Newcastle,
Burnley has one now.
Cornet, but I still like me and Tarkovsky. Like I would be
that's
like,
because you just you're addicted to Englishness. Yeah, you have a disease.
An illness. But they've all got. I mean, I guess Southampton is the one that probably has the least good players of the group. Or Leeds. Leeds has Rafinha and Bamford.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And Watford's
Southampton might be Burnley in disguise.
No, they have a good coach. They have a different coach at least who's willing to lose 9-0. He doesn't.
And they have a James Ward-Prowse, but
yeah, they have lost something along the road. But we've been talking a lot about this week. We've got games on Saturday.
We do. Let's run through.
Things have gone nuts. The issue with the games on Saturday and Sunday, they're awful.
The first one's good.
West Ham Chelsea is about the only good game. It's at the London Stadium. It is a London derby. That should be decent, but the rest of it is. You know what? I think Wolves is going to do something.
I was going to say, so the ones that I'm looking at, Wolves, Liverpool is going to be. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but I think it's going to be a watchable game, unlike most of these. I think United versus Palace is going to be low key very interesting.
It'll be Rangnick's first game.
And then the last two games, or the last game on Sunday, and then the Monday night game, Villa versus Leicester is a who are you derby. Like what the fuck are either of these teams? And exactly the same thing for Everton and Arsenal. Arsenal is in the thick of this.
That is a draw, if I ever heard of a draw. Rafa is going to do everything he can to get a draw in that game.
Yeah, and because he needs to stem the tide immediately.
I have one good bet out of the group of
games. Go for it.
Ready?
The draw?
No. Crystal Palace plus 495.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Away is tough, but I think that Palace is actually better than United right now. Not in general, but right now. The other one is Brentford away plus 295 against Leeds. Why is Leeds a favorite at minus 110? I don't understand that.
That's a good one. Yeah, I've lost money on them before. I'll do it again.
What other weird ones do I find out there?
I'm not looking at the betting.
I've got it in my hand. Okay. Another one that's interesting: West Ham plus 380 against Chelsea.
See, that one feels like a draw to me.
Yeah, the draws are almost always pretty good. It's plus 265. Yeah. No, but I mean, Chelsea will find a way to fucking win that stupid game.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's a halftime, full-time, I like that bet, like draw and then Chelsea. That'll probably be like plus 400 or something.
There's only one crazy one with Watford is plus 1200.
I'll give you a crazy one. It's not Premier League related. Aiden Hutchinson to win the Heisman Trophy. I bet on it in Michigan before I left.
Yeah.
By the way, this is what's going on. I put $5. They had like a Black Friday special. I put $5 on they're like, if the over under in this football game is like 2.5, just for whatever, you win $200 in free bets. I went, okay. So I did it on Friday and I put the house on Michigan. So I did that, won a couple $100, and before I left, I put 100 of that winnings on Aiden Hutchinson to win the Heisman Trophy at 15-1.
Is he the quarterback at Michigan?
No, he's the defensive end. Oh. He's a psycho. But the thing is that there's actually no good candidate this year. So he's he went from the time I bet on him, he is skyrocketed. So if you hear Aiden Hutchinson wins the Heisman,
you will see a man dancing in his underpants.
Oh God. Yeah. I will take a picture of me wearing something scandalous.
So for me, I'm definitely I think I'll probably do a parlay of maybe not a parlay, but Brentford away plus 295 and Palace away plus 495 against United. Why is United getting that much respect? I don't know.
Would you do double chances, please?
They don't. My bookie doesn't have them. It has draw no bet, but that's. I mean, Palace is really, really good.
No, like I said, that's one of the games that I'm certainly looking forward to.
But anyway, Mike,
it's been good. It's been good to be back. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. But till then, let's get the fuck out of here.
All right, that was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network, trying to get to 50,000 downloads in the month. Wow. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show. It helps so much. We're going to have a big month.